Bill Fulling, God rest him, he was never mind. And he always said that a black dog came down the hill of Balloch every night at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
So this man said one night, he says, the next time that bloody black dog comes down here, he says, I'll bust him. So remember the name of Aspel. I don't know what the name, first name. But anyway, he waited this year.
Yeah.
And the black dog come down and he made a kick at the dog and his leg went up and stuck at the back of his shoulder here. And he went around on one leg for the rest of his life. That's supposed to be the truth now.
My girls were going one night, we were going from Tierney's, we said to our house, which would mean any view from here to up to the cross. And when they were going up it then announced, and they were telling yarns before they went out, and they were telling about, well, you'll see the black dog tonight. And they saw the black dog that night cross at Nowlands Lane, that they'd go down to Tierney's and they had to get the Tierney man out of the bed to bring him back down home. They would not pass that lane. And that happened to my lads.
That was down Tierney's
That was
Lane,
down
was it?
Tierney, down Nowlands Lane. So
Oh,
they were
Nowlands
going
Lane,
back
yeah,
down to Tierney's.
Yeah.
And the black dog crossed the road and them girls would not come back. They got Jimmy Tierney out of the bed to come home with him.
There's a rad down in Tarmdara or Mustern, somewhere down in the fields. It could be Forlands, it could be, I don't know where. Now, Morris, my brother Morris would know where it was, because he told me the story, and I presume the story is true, because when the rural electrification came to our corner of the woods, in the 1950s was it, I suppose, they put a pole in the Ra and all down along there, that line. And I presume it went along the line, that's why they put it in it. So they lit up, they had a big ceremony sometime in the hall, and they lit all up, and everything went grand. But a few days after they lit it up, the transformer or whatever they had on that pole tripped, and it blew out all Adamstown. So they went and they fixed it up and come on away and lifted, and it tripped again. So they go back and they put a new transformer, whatever they had to put on it, put a new one on it. And there was nothing wrong with the old one. So that burnt out, blew again. So after several more goes at trying and fixing it, they put another pole outside the Ra. And it's worked perfectly ever since. And the one that they put in the Ra is still there, without minus the wires and stuff. And apparently it can be seen to this day.
I never knew that now, but...
No, you didn't never know that.
No.
And my brother says it's there to this day, that pole. Covered in ivy.
Well, Matt Nail now, Tom Roach, and were two great men with dogs after the rabbits, years ago, the lamp. And they went into a Ra up here, that's where Raheen got his name, the Ra. And they went in up down to McMurphy's Ra, and now all the old fellas said, what will you do now, don't go into the Ra. They are two real good dogs. And they'll tell you that, they can tell you that still now. And they went into the Ra, and the Ra was full of rabbits. The dogs wouldn't follow the rabbits in the Ra. And the next thing, the two dogs started to shake and shiver, and they were on the road, and the two dogs died about a week after. Yeah. And Matt will tell you that to this day now. So they wouldn't go near her anymore.
If there's a Ra in a field or something like that, they don't like touching it. Because like there was a case there, Jim knew, my husband, there was some case and something happened. Some fella, he mowed down the Ra and he's levelled off the field or something, and something, I think the poor man got cancer or something a short time after that, like, but then like
people don't touch them.
They don't, I suppose. You know,
they're left there.
I suppose you don't think of these things till something happen if you do the thing. But then people are a bit afraid of getting rid of a Ra because they say it's unlucky or something. They're there for some purpose or something.
He was after cleaning up. He cleaned up all this out. It was supposed to be a Ra, you know, full of those little old small shrubs, you know. And he was supposed to have taken him out of it, you know, took him up out of it. And a couple of days after, he got this disease in his arm and he had to have it off. And I reckon it was from that, you know, from the touching them, you know, that those little men lived in it, you know. That was haunted and that.
I had a man that ploughed around one time though. And he had a real good pair of horses, a mare heavy and foal. And the the old man that he got the place from said to him, what will you do now? He says, don't touch that spot in the field. So, yeah, man said, that's bullshit. So he went on anyway, and he said to the fellow working with him, plough down that bank there. I said, the old fellow said, there's something there. He said, well, I know, yeah. The man drove into it anyway, and the plough turned over, went through the horses' bellies, the mare would fall.
Yes, of course.
She had to be put down. The next day, the man that was doing the ploughing got, oh God, what did he get a few years ago? Not meningitis. Polio.
Yes.
And he was in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. The next time he went out, the place went to fire while he was trying to plough. And the next thing, the wife died. So he packed up completely, and that spot is there in that field still for anyone to see. But never to sense. That is a fact now.
My father got lost in the field once, coming from work. He had to go into his field and go down across it, and he knew where the gap was. He could walk to it, he thought, with his eyes shut. It was the winter time. And he went around it, and around it, and around it, and nowhere could he find the gap. And the next thing, whatever he come out a good bit from the gap, there was a heap of turnips. There was banked, through, and he fell over the turnips, and he knew where he was then. But nowhere could he find the gap. He said he was surely 3/4 of an hour going around and around, and everything was real dark to him.
Yeah, a similar thing happened to my father in his young days. I can't remember if there was more than one of them in it, but they were in this field. In those days, people crossed the fields.
Yeah, it would be.
Take shortcuts here, there. And they got into this field that they knew like the back of the hand, went around, could not find it. And in the end, they stopped and said a prayer. And when they said it, they saw where they were, the gap appeared to them, or the stile, actually.
I heard tell of a fella being lost in a field all right, in a heavy fog. He could never get out of it. He had to wait till morning. He was walking around all night in it. Well, now, the man that told that story maybe it wasn't true either. We never know,
I know a man that he was after hares, catching hares. And he was standing at this gate, and the next thing he felt like a hand on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he said it definitely happened. But it was in a graveyard. He was.
Oh, yeah. Some fella coming back, you want to have a talk to him.
And then he caught the hare, put the hare in the bag, and about 10 minutes after, there was no hare in the bag. He didn't find the hare at all. That's why he made the one.
To some of the boys.
Yeah.
They're coming up out of the grave.
Yeah.
And he was bagging them.
That was my father.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that happened all right.
I heard that the boat was crying at her window one night.
Yeah.
And she was combing her hair, sitting on this window.
Big long hair down on her back.
And this fella couldn't listen right along on it, but he'd hand out in the window and he gripped the comb.
Yeah.
And she roared and she bawled for 4 or 5 nights anyway, and someone made this man go to the priest to see what would he do.
Yeah.
So I went to the priest anyway, and the priest said, hand her back the comb, but hand her back with the fire tongs.
Yeah.
Because if not, she'll take the arm off you. So eventually he did, and she broke the tongs across in the middle. So he was lucky to escape with his arm.
She was savage.
Yeah. Savage. Yeah.
I heard a story about the boat one time. This fella, he's dead now, he's dead a good few years. He was a great old character. He said that the bow used to come every Friday night to his back window, and she'd bawl away there. And she'd be combing the long hair, he said. What he said, I opened the window this night, he said I was fed up with her. And I put out my hand quick, he says, to take the comb off her. And the 4 fingers, he said, bled for 3 days from the way she scratched his hand. So he said the nails must have been a foot long on her. Whether they were or not, I don't know, but he had that story. He believed in it, so I was young at the time, I had to believe in it too. Whether it ever happened or not, I don't know.
The banshee we used to call it. It's a very sad cry. you know. But they only follow different names, and I was with my uncle. That was scared of my life, sure. And it was in about 20 yards of us, you know, this real sad cry. And he said to me, that's the banshee. She won't do you any harm, he said. He said, Mary Murphy will die sometime tonight. He said, she's coming for her.
Yeah.
So because at the time it was, not a word of a lie, at the time it was, that woman died at that time, 10 minutes to 12 at night. Yeah. And I was scared of my life. You know, going home, he had to take me up to the door, you know, going in.
Yeah.
He said, you'll be able to go across the fields, he said, on your own. And the tears was in their eyes, you know, going to cry.
Yeah.
They're afraid of me, scared of my life. But he cracked the match and you heard it about 3 miles away from there. You know, the sad sound again. But when I told people, they said, you're fucking talking, you know, load of bull, you know, no such thing. But I reckon there is, you know, I really believe there. You know, it couldn't be anything. It wasn't definitely a cat. A cat wouldn't have gone 3 miles in the distance, do you know what I mean? With the same very, very sad cry, you know.
Oh, my mother was afraid of her life of robin, now got to be good one.
Aye.
If a robin come into the house, she'd lose her life.
It was a bad sign,
Bad
wasn't
sign,
it?
yeah. She had an awful fear of robin.
Aye.
No other bird, she didn't mind any other bird.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to have a death now. That's
Yeah, you see, maybe
something would have happened.
Yeah, it was handed down.
A robin
yeah.
came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if she hopped around the table, that was...
Yeah.
Yeah. She had an honest to God now, and I couldn't. She was afraid of her life for robin.
I don't like a bird inside. I do not. Nor tipping on the window.
No, well, I wouldn't mind tipping on the window, but if a bird comes in, it's some sign of a death or something. Not so much even that it may be a death, but something is going to happen, like, you know.
My grandmother used to look after this robin, and it never come back after she died. She used to feed it with her breakfast. She used to stand on her breakfast tray in the mornings and eat off her breakfast tray. But she died. She was bedridden at the time, and she died, and the robin never come in anymore.
Or years ago, there was an owl alder. There's 2 kind of alders.
Oh, if you hit someone with
If
an
you
alder,
hit an
wouldn't go.
animal, yes, if you hit an animal, you have bad luck, yeah. They made out that maybe our Lord was hit with an alder or something. And I don't know whether it was alder or not now. It was there was another particular type of tree.
Aye, alder, yeah,
Yeah, maybe it was alder, yeah.
The poplar tree is supposed to be very unlucky. That was the tree that our Lord's cross was made out of. Poplar. It's supposed to be very, very heavy and very unlucky, and you wouldn't, if how possible, don't cut a poplar tree.
And there's another thing, you don't put red and white flowers together. That's a superstition among nurses. And if there was red and white flowers brought in, they'd change them. Supposed to be unlucky.
I know a woman that was moving house on Saturday. It's only a couple of months ago, and I was down in Clondean, and she said, "Has Mrs. Kylie moved?" And I said, "She's moving on Saturday." Oh my God, she won't move on Saturday. And I said, "Why? If the day is fine," I said, "that's all she wants." "Oh God, no, Saturday, I wouldn't move into a house for Saturday." Oh God, if the day was fine, I didn't. But she was serious about it, you know. She wasn't going to.
Oh, she had that belief.
She had that belief,
that was
yeah.
it.
I'll tell you a story about this was often told in my town's land where I lived, where I was bred, born and reared. There was a lovely well in a cemetery, in the bottom of the cemetery, the lower corner of a cemetery, and a foal died after being born, and this fella put the foal, threw the foal down in the well. And the well, when he came the next morning, the foal was in the well, but the well was dry, and it was at the far side of the river, the well, and it's still there. Whether that ever happened or not, I don't know, but I heard it so many times when I was young.
And there's another one. There was a man with a traction engine passing up a blessed well, and he was running out of water. So he got the water, they got the blessed well. He went 100 yards up the road when the engine busted up.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that was into that.
Yeah.
I do know that Psyche died. Remember Psyche died, and he used to drive a scooter around the place. this is modern now. And it's a real kind of, I don't know what you call it, it's unexplainable. But he often got a puncture on the side of the road. He'd often be seen mending a puncture on the scooter, right? And now he got sick, sure, he was 80 when he died, or over 80. But bringing him to the church, the funeral was going past the house, and it got punctured. They were wondering why. There was no sign the hearse coming, and the hearse got punctured. And I'd never heard it happen with anyone else, anywhere.
I remember listening to a man one night, and I could never accuse a man of telling lies. He was very serious in telling this one. He was walking through Ratcharogue one night, and he heard the step come behind him, and he waited on the step. It was late at night. But the step, when he stopped, the step would stop. He'd walk off another bit, and it followed him the whole way home. That time, old fellas used to do a lot of walking.
Yeah.
They'd be walking from one house to another. So, whether there's someone that he knew or what, I don't know, but I firmly believe that this man had heard something or saw something, you know. There was a lot of it going on that time. You won't see as much of it now. Of course, people are going around in cars now, they wouldn't see it.
Well, if you died and you were a very good living person, they'd say you won't be very long on the gate in the graveyard till someone come and take your place. But if you have a different make here, you could be there for 3 months, and people belong to you be supposed to leave a drink of water every week on the pier of the gate to keep the thirsting.
Yeah.
Keep you from getting thirsty. Yeah.
And I don't know how true this is, but there was 3 fellas taken out of McCabe's pub during the Troubles, during the Civil War, and they were Free State soldiers, and they were alleged to have shot a fella down in Old Court. But we don't know whether that's right or wrong. Probably did. But they were brought down and they were stood up against a rickety straw down the Barracks Road, and they were shot there. The priest was called out, and he begged and pleaded to save their lives, and I think it was the IRA shot them, but they wouldn't listen anyhow. They shot him, and nothing's supposed to have grown in that place since.
One of the things I didn't believe in was people coming back after death. And I happened to be going to the out farm one day, about around 12 o'clock in the day, and I saw this man in the yard, and I stopped and went into him. And when I was getting over the gate, he was gone. But I thought he was gone into his house. And I went to the house, a couple of the houses in the yard, and called his name, and he didn't appear. So I said to us all, the bloody cod. You know, the man was dead 6 or 8 months at the time. Now, when I went out, the daughter was with me. When I went out on the road again, the daughter said to me, "Daddy, where's the man gone that was sitting on the stone there, rubbing the dog?" And that's the time I firmly believed that he was there. I thought I was seeing things, but God, when she saw him, there must have been some truth in it, you know. So that's what happened.